everybody, I'm Sean.
And I'm
And
Steph.
you're watching Rampant Live with one of this. I'm so excited. I can't even speak properly. One of my favorite people on the planet.
Yes.
He's not from this planet, but he's on this planet. One of the best. It's just an amazing human being, or not human being, alien. He's a composer, a writer, a singer, a songwriter, a music video producer, a director. He does vines, he does tweets, he does Instagram. This guy is amazing. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Voice.
Woo!
See, let's rewind it. Let's rewind it. Start all over again.
No, I'm not an astronaut. No, thank you so much for having me. Seriously, I'm really stoked about this.
I can't thank you enough. As someone who's been stalking you for years and watching all your stuff, we've known each other for a really long time, but this is actually the first time we've ever spoken in real time, except for maybe Facebook chat or something. But I've been stalking you on Twitch and on Instagram, and I think outside your apartment a couple times.
That was you. I knew it. I was like, is it? No. All I see is like a Rampant logo on the floor. I was here.
That's kind of damning. You know, people know what that logo looks like. So anyway, for people who don't know who you are, it's really hard to encapsulate who you are. Just calling you Voice is the best way to describe you, because you are something different to everybody, and you're a lot of things to a lot of different people. So if you can, just real quick, can you kind of just sort of explain to our audience who you are and what you do?
Sure. I mean, I think right off the bat, you're right. Singer, songwriter, producer. I think I'm just a creative person. Music is my main outlet. Voice was a name that was, kind of given to me towards the end of high school. And I think at the time when it was given to me, it didn't really mean that much. It was just kind of a name, and I just kind of ran with it. But it really was, back in 2010, after my mom passed away, that, I needed a way to kind of voice what was going on inside me. And that's when Voice kind of took form and became a thing that helped me release emotions. And as I was doing that, people, started to gravitate towards me, because suddenly I was saying things that they could relate to. And then I saw myself kind of shift between someone that was kind of doing something for himself to turn into more of someone that's kind of being a voice of the people that surround him. And I think that's where Voice is right now. Voice is kind of a voice to those people that feel that they can't be heard. And I will be that voice for them, if you will.
I will, and I have, and I do. I like how you put that. If you don't mind, let's talk a little bit real quick about, you and I have talked about this offline many times. Let's talk real quick about how your mom has affected you in your career and really made you who you are today.
Yeah, well, my mom was one of the only person really in my family that kind of understood who I was. She understood that I was someone that was, because I'm an engineer by trade, right? So a very analytical human being, but I'm also very creative. And, I was born in Nigeria, and in that kind of, environment, it's very old school in the sense that you either are a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer. Those are the main trades. Everything else after that is kind of like, yeah, sure, right? But I was this creative person, and I had that inside of me, and my mom really understood that, and she allowed me to let that be who I am. So when she passed, it really was that's when I realized that I needed to stop hiding behind myself and kind of put myself out there. But I really was lost for a long time after she passed, and I had to kind of climb out of this darkness that I was in. And I think that's where my music kind of transformed, because before that, I was just making music for the sake of creativity. After she passed, I was making music for a cause, for a way to kind of free myself from my own demons.
I love that. You and I have talked about that quite a bit, and one thing I want everyone to know is that, and like I said, like I told you before, we jump around everywhere. But one thing I really want people to know is that you make yourself incredibly vulnerable, and you do a lot for other people. If you follow Voice on Instagram or your music, pretty much on Insta or Snap, you're always focused on what you're doing every day, but also trying to help people. And you had a huge self-worth campaign a while back. Can you talk about that real quick?
Oh, what campaign?
Your self-worth campaign?
Oh, yes. The I will not be fucked around anymore. Yes. But no, I will not be dicked around anymore campaign. Yeah. I mean,
the next one is fucked around. That's the next one.
Yeah, that's the next one. That's the sequel. Back stronger than ever. No, what happened was there's something that had happened. This was this year. Something happened in my life that really frustrated me because it kind of showed me that people sometimes will try and take advantage of you. And I remember that I was really mad about that situation. And I'm a very light drinker, and I had a glass of wine after that. So I was completely trashed. And in the moment, I said, I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm going to put together a campaign right now and put it out there. I just did it. Like, I was drunk. I won't lie to you guys. I was drunk. I took the photo, put out the hashtag. The next morning, I woke up, and there were people, like, reposting or doing the photo variations for themselves, and it became a thing. But I woke up to that and I was kind of catching up to what was happening because when I saw it, I was like, what are people tagging me in? And I realized that it was something that I came up with. But yeah, I always want people that feel that they haven't been heard or feel that they're just being mistreated to kind of regain power, to make themselves realize that they are someone, and then, no matter what they're thinking, it can be heard. And if they want to vocalize that, then they should. And if it's something as simple as taking a photo with a hashtag, then it'll still be seen because there are other people out there who feel the same way.
That talks a lot about your influence as I don't want to call you a social influencer. That sounds like something like you hear in a corporate meeting, like strategery.
Yep. Strategery, yeah. Synergize.
How do we synergize this? He says his name is
How do we penetrate the market, guys?
Can we get a T-shirt? What do we do here? No, but you have a huge social following, and one thing I tell everybody, and people don't listen to me, I don't know why, but when I first started really paying attention to you, I'm like, holy shit, this is a master class in how to run a brand, and I know that's not how you said. I know you didn't go, you know what, guys, this music thing is fun, but today I'm starting a brand. I know it wasn't like that, right? But
yeah,
if you look now versus when I met you 6 years ago. You've got an empire, man. I mean, you've got snaps and vines and instas and music and videos and video games. You're sitting on panels. You're doing stuff live all the time. I mean, every time I feel like I've accomplished something for the day, I look at your page and I'm like, man, I guess I could work a couple more hours. This is crazy because you're always like, yeah, I just released 45 new tracks today for a total of 75 tracks for the week, and I got some collab going
just
on.
Another day. Just another day.
Just another day. You personify the whole. There's 3 8-hour work days in every day. And on top of everything that you're doing, up to recently, I'm not sure if it's just still happening now, but you had a full-time job.
Well, I'm actually still. So this is between us, guys. So this is my last year.
Let's not broadcast this.
So in case anyone is watching this from job, this is my last year. But yeah, no, I'm deciding to jump full in, and I can do that because, like you said, I've been putting myself out there, and at first it was scary because you're putting yourself out there and you're worried that you're gonna try and you fall and you drop. But I see myself, being vulnerable and allowing myself to be vulnerable in front of an audience, and they're not going like, look at him being a crybaby again. No, they're actually going like, thank you for doing that, and it's made me realize that I need to put myself full time into it, and that's why I'm dedicating fully, into this thing that I'm creating. But yeah, when it comes to branding, like you said at the beginning, I really wasn't even trying to do that. I just got to the point where I got sick and tired of trying to put on a facade. Because I was looking on Instagram, and every other post that people put up was their most amazing selfie. It's like, look at me in my glamour. And I kept thinking, in between, because even me, at that point I was doing that. And in between those photos, there were real things happening in my life. Like things weren't gravy. I wasn't always like happy. And I got sick and tired of putting out this image or this false image of everything being amazing when it wasn't. And I felt it wasn't honest. So I decided to start being honest with who I am. If it meant, I'll put out a post where I'm actually talking about how I feel and it's not a good feeling, then I would just do that. Or if I was playing a video game, I would talk about that because I wanted to. And then suddenly it made me human, and approachable, and that's what I wanted. I never want to be at a position where people feel that they need to. It's like you keep cracking this joke where they need to like go through 8, secretaries to get to me. Like I don't want that. I always want to be at the point where you just write me a message on Facebook or write me a message on Instagram, a direct message. I may not get back to it, within the first day, but I will get to it because I want people to feel that I'm real just like they are.
Oh yeah, I've had conversations real late in the night, just about real things, and I appreciate that you're approachable, because we believe in surrounding ourselves with people who understand what we're trying to do, and you're one of the very few of them. We're not in any related field other than video, but we certainly have a lot to share with one another, and you've been a huge inspiration to us. So when you decided,
thank you.
Oh, I can't stress it enough. There's two people that I can think of off the top of my head that have really helped us keep going where we're going, and you're one of them, and Dave from Myographer is the other. But you've got a wealth of knowledge and advice, and you've never once been like, man, I ain't telling you the recipe. You've always been like, well, here's what I do, and here's how I do it. And when did you decide that, aside from doing Instagram, when did you decide that, okay, I'm going to start doing daily snaps, and then I'm going to start creating actual content for Insta? Because your videos are the funniest. I mean, every time you do a slap video, I'm always drinking, and I end up water, I should say. I'm not drinking, and I spray my computer everywhere. I'm like giggling like a little girl, and Steph walks in, and she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're watching another slap video." I mean, I just pulled up one for her just a second ago before the show, and I watched it like 100 times. It's just so. And then kicking in with Adele after he gets slapped is just brilliant. So when did you decide? Okay, today, from this day forward, I'm going to make daily content, like actual, not just I ate a burrito today, but actual content.
Is when I don't know. I think it just happened naturally because I would post so frequently, and I think as technology just gets easier and easier to use, because in the past, because when I did the Gamer Nerds, putting out a video meant hours upon hours of editing, which can be intense. But it became so easy to just film little small skits and just put them out there and edit them right on the fly on my phone, right? Not having to export to my computer, just bam on my phone. So because it was so easy, I said, fine, I'll give it a shot. And it's because I started doing, I got on Vine first. Saw what people were doing on Vine, and I wanted to give it a shot, so I just did it, and that naturally grew into bringing it to Instagram. Instagram then, shot the videos from had the videos go to 15 seconds, and after that, now it's a minute, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just do it, and this kind of became its own thing. It really wasn't something I was thinking about. It was just a natural progression. I only realized I'm doing something after I look back and see that I've been doing it, which is interesting.
I love that. I love that everything about you is so organic. It's just, it's funny because I take all these classes or I read all these books, and everyone, like Gary Vee says, exactly what you're doing is what you should be doing, but you're doing it naturally and organically, which is why you have the following that you do. And I really wish that people would pay attention to what you're doing, because right now is the era of storytelling. People really don't care about what you're selling, whether it's your own music or our products, whatever it is. They want to attach themselves to you, and then everything else will follow. I did play Stephanie that video where you're like, oh, thanks for buying my music, man. Nah, man, I got it off YouTube. I love that.
Amazing.
That was funny.
So good.
But in reality, you sell the records that you do, you sell the songs that you do because of what you do every single day, and people need to get their heads wrapped around that concept, or they're going to get left behind.
Yeah, and the cool thing about letting people into who you are is that you show them all sides to yourself. So because I let people know that, yes, I'm a very emotional human being, but I'm also a huge geek. I'm a gamer. I'm also passionate about human ethics and human rights. So when I go from, putting out an album to doing a panel, about gender and racial, and racial equality, people understand that flow. They're not saying to themselves, wait, what is he doing? Why is he going from music to that? For them, it's a very organic shift because they know it's part of my personality. And I saw people growing up, I saw Eminem and Michael Jackson do it, where they weren't just putting out music, they were putting out themselves. And because of that, it was so easy to follow them through their life. And when they changed genres, you weren't shocked. You just said to yourself, yeah, he needed to change genres because he wanted to showcase another side of himself. And that's what I want to do with my career, and take it beyond just music to other facets of my life.
I love that, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this on record here. Gamer Nerds has to come back.
I want to to some extent. I want to bring it back. I think when I get enough, I'm gonna say collateral to bring it back to the point where it's not something that's so hard to do, because it's really hard to kind of do a lot of these things right now by myself. But when I have a team that's willing to dedicate time, we'll bring it back.
Hang on 1 second. We have a technical delay.
Technical difficulty. Yeah, no problem.
Sean.
He's like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm like, I'm making calls. CBS.
All right. We're back.
Because we're so pro, our battery fell out of our Skype machine, so. Yeah, man. And the thing is, I find really entertaining when you were doing Twitch. I think it was Battlefield actually, and you were just devastating this game, right? What I love about that is you're the only show out there because every other show has a political responsibility to someone or a group of someone's, and so they're always going to slant it like, well, it's not the best. It doesn't have a lot of replay value, but it's a 9 out of 10. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. I hate that because you know that they're trying to walk that thin line between being honest and not getting, and still getting game copies they can review.
Right.
But yeah, I don't. If I hate a game, you know I hate the game. If I hate a movie, you know I hate the movie. Batman v Superman. I mean, people know I didn't like it, because I don't have anything behind me as an agenda to try and push it towards a crowd because I'm being paid to do so. No, I'm doing these things out of passion.
And that's why we loved you, and that's why Game Nerds to this day is still the best video game show that's ever been out there. Because you got all these pretenders like on GameSpot TV or whatever. It's obviously slanted. They're only showing certain titles from certain publishers. It's like, come on, guys. Yeah. And every game's amazing. Yeah. Every game is fantastic. So
yeah, I really don't like that. I've noticed that a lot of the bigger outlets that they're very slanted in terms of their opinions, and that's why honestly I like going to the smaller companies, the 2-man shows, because they're gonna be honest. They're not gonna they have no reason to lie.
Right. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about, and this is something that hits home here because Stephanie and I are very competitive. We each have our own Xboxes. We've got our own Steam machines. We do not play nicely with one another. We're super, super competitive. But one thing that I'm sure you know, and there's been this news all over the place, is people love to drop the C-bomb on her when they find out when
terrible.
Look, she'll rape these guys' faces. I mean, she's really, really good at this stuff, and then they get really offended when they find out she's a woman. So let's talk a little bit about that and about your position with girls on games.
So you mean girls in gaming in general?
Yeah, and the actual girls on games movement.
Oh, movement. Okay, yeah. Well, it's the same thing as when people find out that, and this happens a lot with Gamer Nerds, where every once in a while there'll be that one person that'll comment and just drop the N-bomb, and just for no reason, just be like, shut up, you blah, and you just sit there going like, we spent hours creating this content, and all you can do is drop the N-bomb because you're hiding behind the internet. I hate that. I hate when people just do that because it kind of devalues who you are as a person, and they just do so candidly, and a lot of times they just do so because they're hiding behind the internet, and they know that, I mean, in person for sure they would never see it to your face, but because they know there's that shield in front of them, they feel so inclined to be free with what they want to say, and it's harmful and it's hurtful. And I think as a people we need to be really more responsible with what we say on the internet and who we say to, because I mean, how many situations have there been lately where people that have been bullied on the internet have committed suicide? Right. It's this a small comment when said by thousands of people can devastate a person. And I think we have to become more socially aware of what we say, even if you're hiding behind a computer.
I agree. It's pretty. I mean, in gaming especially, but even on the internet, on YouTube and everything, we talk about it all the time. Just the negativity and hiding your, I don't know. It's just weird that people think that they can say whatever they want to say, and their words do hurt. There is somebody behind everything, and even if you think it's a big company and you don't know who it is, those words hurt. And in gaming especially, there's not a lot of females that you play against, and when they find out that you are a female and a girl, they're just like, they tear you to pieces, and it's just like, how can you do that? Who are your parents? Who taught you how to act this way? It amazes me. It really does.
A lot of people still have that belief system that gaming is predominantly a male-driven passion, when the reality is that girls and females in general actually dominate the industry. There's about, I think it's like 55 to 45, and girls are the majority.
Yeah.
And I'm not just, and this is not taking into account like mobile games. I'm talking about console gaming.
Right.
Girls actually dominate the male audience. So I don't know why people still have that belief system that it's a male-dominated industry when it really isn't.
No, it's not. And you sit on a panel called Girls on Games, right?
No, so we sit on. So Girls on Games is a group in Montreal that's very similar to the Gaming Nerds, but they're ran by these two girls, Leah Jouer and Catherine Debian. But no, the panels we do at Comic-Con, they're on it's on gender and racial equality or diversity in gaming. This year we expanded to geek culture, and yeah, we just started doing it because we just saw that as such a huge topic in the industry, where every other article is a girl being bullied or different stereotypes being reinforced in the culture, in gaming, where like every single black person is a gangbanger, every single girl is either a weak princess or a prostitute, and that kind of image it's like you're just reinforcing this negative image and you're just perpetuating that image, and so people are believing that that's what reality is. And so we start these panels as a means to kind of start talking about this and kind of shift the mindset of the industry and hopefully get them to say, it's time we started showing more diversity in games. And I'm happy to see that it's happening more and more often now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's because of groups like that's going to happen. I think that there's just so much hate, especially on the internet, YouTube. The internet's written in ink. It doesn't go away. And so how do you handle haters? Because I know you and I have talked offline about that. There's been a handful of times where someone just devastates us, says really terrible things. We did an episode on misogyny, and some dude went off and we wrote a paragraph about how Steph needs to give me my balls back. When in reality, she's my equal. She's my best friend. Neither of us are above one another, and it's just. But once he posted that, there was 100 more comments beneath it of people just piling on, and I think it's a mob mentality. But so how do you handle that? You're completely exposed. You're way more open and honest than I would say 99.99% of people on the internet. So how do you handle being so vulnerable and yet protecting yourself from all the hate?
The way I just see is that a lot of times people, when they start hating, it's less about you as a person and more about their own insecurities. Like I've seen it happen in person. I was at a convenience store getting a coffee, and the guy next to me, so I was trying to get a coffee. I'm gonna drop the N-bomb. He was a white guy, and I was trying to get my coffee, and he said, "Wait your turn, nigger." Like he just said it flat out in person, right? And
so he's dead now,
at
right?
first I was.
So
what?
He's dead.
I looked at him and I said, I was on the inside. I was really mad, but then I stopped and I just calmed down and I said, it has nothing to do with me and more to do with his own insecurities and his own inability to step outside of whatever bubble he's living in. And I honestly feel bad for people like that. So when people hate for no reason, it's because they're unable to just embrace the world for what it really is, and they need to live in that slanted view of things because it's where they're comfortable. And it's sad because they'll never see just how beautiful things can be when you open your mind.
See, I love that. Let's roll this back a little bit to your music career. This is a geeky show, so let's first talk about software.
Yeah, software.
Yes, do it.
So as a composer, as an actor, as a composer, as a musician, what software do you use to make your music?
I grew up on, back then it was called Fruity Loops. Mm-hmm. Now it's called FL Studio. I grew up on that, and it's been my backbone ever since. FL Studio, Nuendo, which is based on Cubase. Those are my go-to programs because I'm so used to them right now that I can use them with my eyes closed. And ever since I started collaborating with Sooks on projects, I know he uses a lot of Logic and things like that. So I've dabbled in that, but my go-to program is going to be FL, without a doubt.
Okay. So you do complete everything in Cubase?
So I start with the instrumentation. I usually start it in FL, and I just kind of start off just the backbones of the project. And then I export it to Cubase or Nuendo, and that's when I start adding in the vocals, and that's when I start tweaking on the mixing and things like that. And then I start piling on more instrumentation. But at that point, because FL for me is where I really program things to be more quantized. when I get things to the innuendo level in my mind, it's now on the analog level. That's where I start to play things, and I keep the nuances. I'm not trying to quantize anymore. I'm not trying to play the piano and have it be, like bing, 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 bing. I really want it to like be a little bit off time, because it's in those moments. I think MJ said it. MJ was talking about how it's the miscalculations and the human error that make a song. It's not the perfection. When it's perfect, it just sounds too robotic. But once there's error, it creates the magic, if you will.
So I'm just trying to think. If someone asked us in our user group, because we announced you being on the show earlier, and there's a couple questions they wanted me to ask. One was about workflow. When you work with a producer like Sooks, do you work in his studio, or do you do something and then send him files? I know this is really kind of geeky, but people love the workflow aspect in our show. So are you sending material and files to him? Are you working with him specifically? I remember that one jam session, not one, there's always a jam session with you and Jess and Sooks. And there's that one instant where you all, like when the beat drops, you all are just jumping and going crazy. Do you find that you do that more collaborative in person, or is there a lot of working individually and then bringing material to them? I mean, for our audience, explain how you do that.
It always all depends on the project. So, for example, when we're working on like my albums, like the Alone in the Crowd, the Voice trilogy, if you will, when we're working on those ones, Sooks would actually send me what he was like his instrumentations. He just sent me the early versions of them, and I'd take those and I'd resonate off that, and on my end I would record and my content, and I'd send it back to him, and then he'd kind of use what I recorded and he'd add to it, and then he'll build on it from there, and then we just kind of had that back and forth workflow. But when we're working on projects like the one with me and Jess, for example, that's we really wanted that project to be what happens if Jess and and Voice did a project together at the same time. And so when it comes to those projects, we always do them together. Like she'll come down to my studio, I'll go to hers, I'll go to Sooks, and we'll just jam it out. So it always depends on what we're working on.
How amazing is that you have two friends with studios? So pretty much anywhere you go, you can just create music.
Yeah.
Not many people can say
that. It's like we just go to each other's houses and just like, pick up a guitar and starts playing, and before you know it, a song is born. And that usually happens whenever we hang out. A song is always born.
So let's talk about how many songs you gave birth to last year.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. Doesn't quite describe this. This is.
So last year was Alone. Well, not including the collaborative projects. There was Alone in the Crowd and Hidden in Plain Sight, which were the two first chapters of the Voice trilogy. So in total, those are 60 songs. No, it's 65 songs. And then this year, at the beginning of the year, we released Lord of Gemini, which is the last chapter, and those are the final 10 songs. So it's a total of 75 songs within, I think, 5 months that we put out. Just bam. It's a little bit madness. But there's a reason to the madness, though. Like it's like Alone in the Crowd. There's a reason why there's 3 albums, because each one reflects a different side of me. Alone in the Crowd is very much Steven's story. Like the more, the person, like he's the one that was more affected by the loss of his mom, the loss of a lot of things in his life. He's a very soft and broken person, and Alone in the Crowd reflects that broken, fragmented mind. That's why there's so many songs, because he was all over the place. Whereas Hidden in Plain Sight, which is 15 songs, is Voice's story, and Voice is the person that Steven, the persona he created in order to deal with that loss. So he's more concise because he's the face of Steven, and then Lord of Gemini was my way of bringing those two worlds together, and that's why that's an even more concise project, because it was my way of saying goodbye to the last 5 years of my life.
Did you find that was like a cathartic project? I mean, now that you've gone through this trilogy, are you a different person?
Yeah. I feel that now I'm able to explore other things. Like I feel in that time frame, I really was wrestling those demons and trying to make sense of the life that I was living. Now that it's done, I'm now exploring other sides of myself. I'm like, for example, the project with Jess. It's neither a Voice album or a Jess album. It's really like what happens if we just gave birth to our own offspring, and it's like a different story altogether. I don't even know whose story it is. It's just a story. But I'm able to now put things out that won't necessarily be fully attached to me from a personal, personal level. So I can be more creative in that sense. But that doesn't mean that I won't bring it back to that mode eventually. Like, I think down the line I will make an Alone in the Crowd too. But for now, I'm able to just go and do different things.
So for people who aren't really understanding what you just said, because there's a lot of data flying at them, you released in the span of a year and a few months, or really 6 months, because you started in the middle of last year, right? You released 75 tracks, plus collaborative album, plus daily snaps every day, daily videos on Insta and on Vine, and you're twitching, you're driving across Toronto, from Toronto to Vancouver, and performing. I mean, you're always doing something, So So this is someone who, if someone were to say, well, how would you explain Voice? I'd say he's on the grind. I mean, it's just you have a singular vision, and you're not stopping to reach it, and that's what I admire about you most. And every time I feel lost with what we're doing, I look at you and you've never wavered. I'm sure personally, because you've always posted things like there's days you just don't give a fuck, or you're just done with it, or whatever, which is great because that helps me feel better on days where I just feel like flipping the table over and running. But what really means the world to me about what you do is that you present this real honesty and truth that I think everyone needs to take note of. And you told me something right before the show that I'd like to talk about now. You said that back in the day you were solely signed to a label. They basically owned your character, your persona.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that between now and then and what's changed?
Yeah, so it was in 2010, so it was right after my mom passed. I had a lot of labels kind of sending me contracts, and once my mom passed, I was in such a messed up place that the next label that showed any interest, I just signed the next deal because I just needed to stop thinking about how I was feeling. And I have no animosity against that label because I know that they believed in me. But in essence, what happened is that they ended up holding me back, and I was stuck for a good 3 years, and it was really frustrating because I had all this content that I wanted to do and create, and I couldn't, and I just felt stuck in this bubble. And so once I got out, I decided that I didn't want to ever sign myself as an artist to a label, and I don't care if it's Warner or whatever. I don't care how big the label is. I want to maintain my freedom, because the last thing I'll ever want to do is stop being able to be myself with my audience. Like, if I was signed to a major label as an artist, then I wouldn't be able to put out those little snippets of me performing or me just creating songs, because I like to show people the process, because I'm working on a song right now and they see a little snippet of it on my Snapchat or on Instagram, and then fast forward 5 months, the project comes out and they hear that final project, they feel like they were part of that journey. I never want to be in a position where I can no longer do that.
Yeah, that's awfully nearsighted of a company to not let you do that, because that's your direct connection to your fan base. So it's unfortunate that people think that way. It's an old school model of thinking. And the three of you, your trio is a powerhouse. Would you ever consider the three of you forming some kind of a label or some kind of an entity?
So I guess you're pretty much the first to really know this. So Sooks actually released his album today called Finding Serenity. And if you go on iTunes and the different digital stores, it says it was distributed by a company called Neo's Odyssey. So Neo's Odyssey, in essence, is our label. And we kind of put out our content through that. And we're going to expand on that down the line. But for now, we're putting out music through that label. We're licensing music to movies and whatnot through that label. It's, in essence, we kind of want to give back power to ourselves as the artists to distribute things how we want to do it without having to worry about some third party doing it, but then diluting, I guess the money that we should be getting back for ourselves.
I love that. That's the way it should be. It's absolutely the way it should be. So let's talk video production a little bit.
Do it.
I have to pull this up again one more time here. This is, you have to go to Voice Music on Instagram. They're some of the funniest and best videos, but you act, and with 99% of your videos, you are the sole actor in all of them, and you play multiple roles. If I can remember correctly,
Madness,
there's a guy who realizes he's crazy. There's definitely a vampire in there.
There's a vampire.
What do you want to call him?
There's a ghost.
There's definitely a ghost.
There's a ghost. There's always a random British rock star for reasons unknown.
He doesn't want to be famous, but he wants to be really popular. I love that about him.
yeah, exactly.
But see, that's what's brilliant is it's so fast and furious. It's like I'm like, how is this guy so effing creative? Where do you get the ideas for this? And also, mind you, you live in an apartment complex, so your neighbors must think you are straight up.
Oh, they
bananas.
think I'm absolutely crazy. I mean, because I film parts of my stuff in my hallway
all the time,
and I'm just out there, and they just walk out, and I think at this point they're just like, yeah, it's our neighbor. They're so used to me now. Because I've been making music, and I do it in my, have my setup in my apartment, and sometimes at nighttime I'm blasting music, and they're just so used to me that they're just like, it's cool, it's just him. I'm really lucky for that because other people might be like, just tone it down. But yeah, no, those ideas, they just kind of come to me. I don't. The way I see it is, the more absurd the idea, the more inclined I am to do it. Because there's just something about putting out exactly what's in your mind and just doing it that connects with people, because we all have these really crazy ideas every once in a while. And I'm just that person that just says, I have that crazy idea too, but I'm going to talk about it. And that's pretty much it.
Right. Well, you inspire me to be a better, more honest, because I'm really 3 shades of batshit crazy. And when we first started this company, we were told by a lot of people, "Oh no, you got to keep it, be mellow, just be some kind of persona." And we're now rapidly undoing that, but it takes a long time because when people meet me at a show, they're like, "Oh, that's you." I'm like, "Yeah, that's sorry." I love your stuff. Is so damn hilarious.
Thank you.
It actually takes hours out of my day, so I should probably send you a bill of some kind. But no, I absolutely love it, and the fact that you play every role is really funny. And sometimes you get your friends involved, but it's always really awkward and always really real. And so let's talk about your actual music videos. I'm gonna pull some up here. You've got some really beautiful music videos, and let's see. I had Surrender happens to be one of my favorite ones.
Well, you helped work on that one because it's amazing.
That's not why it's my favorite, though. It was an honor to
work with you. You took it from the love. Cause I remember that. I remember when I was working that video, and I know I was stuck because I wanted that visual to look a certain way, and it was just missing that overlayer. I remember reaching out to you, and you were just like, yes, of course, and I was so honored that you did that, and then when I sent it to you, and then you sent it back, and it was just perfect. Like it's like you understood what was in my mind. In my mind, I wanted it to feel like people were watching that sequence in Gladiator. I don't know if you guys watched Gladiator, the movie, but like there's a sequence where at the beginning he's envisioning his wife, and she's walking through a field, and I wanted that very ethereal feel, and you just nailed it. So thank you.
It's always fun to work with you. I've had the honor of being able to work on a couple of your projects. The album art for you was probably the most fun I've ever had. You know what? It's the thing I love about you is that you're very approachable and attainable. A lot of times when I work for artists, their representatives will contact me, and I'll never actually speak to the artist. I'll get a cryptic note from the artist will tell the PR person. The PR person will try to relay what they think the artist is actually trying to say, and I'm like, "Can I just 5 minutes?" No. Who are you?
Yeah.
So let's talk about video production, though. You had a live show, or not a live show. You had a produced show called Gamer Nerds, which was a lot of work. You guys were obviously on green screen. You had a lot of content going on. You had multiple hosts, so you were writing content, editing and producing content. And there's a lot of episodes. And then you go into music videos. What is your personal involvement in the music video and the show producing process? Are you more of an actor, or are you completely 100% involved in what you do?
Oh, I need to be involved in every aspect. I need to, just because, like for music videos, for example, like I spend so much time working on the music, and I want the visuals to be very representative of what's going on in my mind. And the last thing I want to do is just outsource that and just say, yeah, here's the music, create something, direct, do. I don't want to do that because then the product that you're getting is not representative of who you are. And I want the videos to be just as crazy sometimes as the songs can be. And Surrender was one of those projects where I'm lucky to work with director Francis Ward because he understands how I work and he knows that I like to be involved. And he's very okay with like letting me every once in a while kind of take the reins because he trusts me. And I need to be involved 100% in the process. And when it comes to the editing, for the most part, I just do the editing because I know how I want things to be sequenced.
So where do you edit it? For all of our video production friends out there, is it Premiere that you use?
Yeah, so when on the Gamer Nerds, I was using Sony Vegas because I found it very easy. It's kind of it's a very entry level, if you will, pro software for video editing. But for music videos, I'm Adobe Premiere all the way, just because that's when I really want to dive into the intricacies of things. But for the Gamer Nerds, I needed something that was pro, but something that I could kind of churn out content fast without needing to really overly dive into the specifics.
Cool. So when you're working with directors, they're totally cool with you editing them. That's a pretty unique situation right there.
So Francis Ward, and that's why I like working with Francis because he understands that when I'm working on a song that I want to be involved to that degree, and he totally gets that, so he lets me do the editing. Obviously, I run it through him first to see if he's cool with it. But we both direct the videos, and I do the editing because I just know how I want things to be sequenced. And at the same time, because I created the music, I know where there's specific tones I want to emphasize. Sometimes it could be a cut to black. Because in the song, the music itself kind of drowns out, and I want that feeling to be felt. So I'd rather do the editing than have someone edit it and then have to go back and spend hours upon hours annoying the hell out of them to redo things when it's not their fault. It's like they can't be in my mind, so I'm in my mind, and I have the video editing expertise. I might as well do it.
What do you mean they can't read your mind? Come on.
They're like, oh, what are you saying, man?
So we have a good question
we've
based on that.
got lots of questions now. So
okay.
Philip asks, do you do any storyboarding for your videos?
Oh gosh, we do storyboarding, but it changes very quickly. Because you start off with an idea. I remember in Surrender, the idea initially was pretty much a video, but the way at the end she was supposed to die was different from how it ended up being. She was supposed to fall off a cliff. And then we shot it, and no matter how we shot it, it just looked fake, right? I didn't like it. It just, like, the whole video was this ethereal, but that's not even a word, but it was a very, like, emotional, I can't explain the word, but the feel of it was the feel of it. And it got to that shot, and it just looked like not well done. So then we went back to reshoot, and I decided that instead of her falling off a cliff, we're going to have her take pills, and then I would then follow her to the end of because in the song it says, I'll follow you onto the end of the earth. And I followed her by taking the pills after with her. But it was very poetic, and it just changed the overall tone of what we were going for. So yeah, I storyboard, but I'm also very open to the fact that there's no such thing as a straight line. Sometimes you have to come back in that feedback loop and listen to yourself or listen to other people's opinions, in the process, and go like, maybe it's better to shift directions.
So that's great. So, and following that question, Philip also asked, what kind of planning do you do to create the content? Is it spontaneous, or do you schedule some of it? And I think you kind of answered a little bit, but kind of touch on the planning that you do.
The planning? Well, whenever me and Francis work on videos, I always just call him up or send him a text going like, we're going to do a video for this song. And he's like, yes, I'm down.
Nice.
And then we just meet up at my place, and, we just started talking about because I always have an initial idea I want to go with. We started talking about that, and we kind of start brainstorming, and before we know, we have like a full concept, like just mapped out. Then, honestly, the day before shooting, we have the overall feel, but then that's when we storyboard everything. And once it's all storyboarded out, we go off and start shooting, and then we just allow ourselves, like I said, to rethink certain things, because sometimes, like, when you're filming, it just doesn't translate as well, and then there's always a better way of doing things.
So that's awesome. Paul Watkins says he wants to talk about music licensing. How do you feel about copywriting? I mean, how do you handle copywriting your music? What's the process you do to protect yourself from people just snaking your work?
Well, I mean, before you license anything to anyone, like it's like, and we're lucky because we release our music commercially first. So our music is available on iTunes. It's been distributed, so it's just proof that it belongs to us. From that point on, licensing is easy because we had to reach out to third party licensing companies to do some of that legwork. Or as we're doing now, we're trying to do a lot of licensing ourselves. So film companies can come directly to us and license from us. And it's better because we have access to all our libraries and we know what's better for certain things as opposed to having some third party, kind of fumble through what they think is best when it's actually another song.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question there, Paul. Got lots of comments coming, which is nice. So let's talk a little bit about something that you and I have talked about quite a bit, and you've admitted to. I suffer from crazy anxiety and insomnia. I think they kind of go hand in hand. My brain doesn't turn off, and I know that's where you and I kind of bonded way back in the day. I still have no solution, and I played the video for Steph where it's like, try turning off the light.
That's the best.
You're like, oh no. Oh! Why did I think of that?
It's funny. Yeah, because that happens to me all the time. It's like, well, you should not watch TV. Like, are you in my room? I'm not watching TV.
Exactly. No, I've suffered from insomnia since I was a kid, and anxiety just goes hand in hand. I don't know which one comes first. Maybe it's probably insomnia causing my brain to shut down and the anxiety takes over. I think it's something that's chronic to creative people, honestly. I think that's the curse of being creative, is that your brain is constantly moving and thinking of ways to do certain things or doing this and doing that, and it becomes sporadic and it goes in different tangents. When you're trying to sleep, you need to try and calm down your mind, but you can't. And a lot of people say stuff like, why don't you just count sheep? And every time I count sheep, the sheep end up doing other things other than jump over. Like, some of them start smoking, others start playing golf, others start questioning their existence. Like the sheep.
Wow.
Like, they start doing other things, and then it becomes frustrating because, like, I try to get the sheep to go back to what they were supposed to be doing, and they don't, and I get annoyed. So yeah, I don't have a cure for insomnia.
No, me neither. For me, the sheep will turn into
every once in a while I just crash. So what?
For me, the sheep will turn into zombies, and I'm like, being chased through the city or something. So,
Yeah.
So,
but I just get a lot of and it stopped recently. Honestly, I'm lucky, but I just get a lot of night terrors where, because my brain is so active, I wouldn't sleep, but I'd be somewhere in between sleep and not sleep. So I'd be awake but asleep, but I'm dreaming, and because you're awake. And when that happens, you initially get your mind's reaction to get afraid. Once you get afraid, your brain starts having nightmares, but you're having nightmares while you're awake, and it's terrifying. And I hate night terrors. But it's the curse of being creative, I guess.
That's true. It's hard. So, what do you do to relax? Do you have any tips, or do you what do you do to calm your mind at times?
I honestly love space and the moon and the stars, so I go to my roof and I just kind of sit down and I just look into the stars, and it relaxes me because I think a lot of the times we're so stressed out because of all the things happening in our lives, and then you look into the sky and space, you suddenly realize that this is just this planet and there's other worlds out there, and that if you were on that world, all the problems on this one would be gone because you wouldn't be attached to them. So because of that, I feel free. So whenever I get stressed out or I can't sleep, I just go on my roof and my mind just calms down. Even if I don't end up sleeping, I feel rested because my mind was able to stop moving for a little bit.
Oh, I love that.
That's great, yeah.
Philip has a great question. Why don't you ask that?
So Philip asks, do you have a support system for those overdriven time, other than us?
Well, no. I should clarify that Steven has helped me, Voice has helped me way more than vice versa. So, no, I kind of reached out to him one day and started asking him, dude, I'm like 3 seconds away from jumping off something tall. How do you handle all this nonsense? And he's always been very kind to me. But no, I really don't help him. He's way...
What are you talking about? You've helped me on so many occasions. I mean, okay, Alone in the Crowd was the first album in the trilogy. Had you not created that art that you did for the I guess the album art, it wouldn't be out. Like, you made it real. Like, because of that album, because of what you did, it set me on that path as to where I wanted the trilogy to go. You know, so like, but it's the honest truth though. It's the honest truth, and that picture is so representative of what, like, I sent you the photo, I gave you the idea, and you ran with it, and it was exactly what I needed, you know, and more. So, you know, don't sell yourself short,
just
man.
Just a little bit of paint, my friend. Just a little bit of paint.
A lot of amazing work. That's all I'm gonna say.
So obviously Jess and Sook is part of your support system. I mean, the three of you are going through this journey together. Is safe to say?
Yeah. When I first met Sooks, it was through so Michael Mando. Me and him had connected and became friends, and then through him I met Sooks, and just ever since then it's just been great to meet someone who has the same mind as me and who understands music from a very emotional point of view, and that understands the struggle. And the same thing with Jess. I mean, I met her through, you know, the Gamer Nerds, and even after I shut down the Gamer Nerds, I knew I wanted to keep working with her because she reminded me so much of myself. So it's just great to meet fellow creative people that don't want to strap themselves to that very standard box, that are willing to go beyond convention to kind of create what they want to create without fear.
You are far too wise for your age. I know it's just a number. How young are you?
Do you want to die?
Look, people. I rarely endorse anything, but you know, if I could give my seal of approval to anything, it would be to everything that Voice does. But you have to go on his Instagram page, Instagram.com/voicemusic, and we'll put the links and everything up. But you have to watch these videos. There's obviously real stuff, him playing music and you singing and just talking about, you know, you just don't feel like going outside or you're sick and tired of not seeing the sun. But there's these gems of these really amazing shorts that it's on quality, on par with what SNL does. It's just really damn funny, and
thank you.
It's just I rarely laugh. It's just life is tough, and it takes a lot to make me laugh. And every time I put on one of your videos, I'm like laughing hysterically. And Stephanie's like, "What's wrong with you?" You know, and I'm just
no, I love it. It actually, it's very your pieces that you have on Instagram actually bring him out of funks, and they bring him out of, you know, states of where he doesn't feel like he doesn't want to work anymore, and it actually brings him and centers him back, and it's amazing to see that, and you have that impact on him, so I know you have that impact on
if you read
many
the comments,
other people.
The comments, these people, I mean, you know, your people love and worship you. I mean, I think you're the only comparison is how loyal your followers are, but your people are loyal to you as Taylor Swift's people are to her. They absolutely love and adore you, and that's the only comparison to Taylor Swift.
We look exactly the same. What are you talking about? Exactly, we're like twins.
It's you.
How did she? No, but honestly, I'm lucky to have such a following that reminds me every single day that what I'm doing is justified. Because, like you said, there are days where I wake up and I'm just frustrated because either I got off a call with it could be like a radio or whatever, or some situation where someone doesn't want to do something and I had my mind set on that, and it's frustrating because you feel like did all this work and it feels like it's for nothing, and then you get a comment and it just reminds you that there's like you're doing this for something much bigger, and it just brings me back down. So I'm lucky to have people like that I can actually say things like, hey guys, I'm having a messed up day today, and then they actually go out of their way to try and make me feel better, or if I feel sick, they actually give me remedies, you know, things like that. I'm just like, wow, it's like having, like when I say, like it changed entirely what alone in the crowd meant, because suddenly alone in the crowd almost seems like it's not true. I'm really not alone anymore. I really have a support system that spans the world, and it's just... It's like it's very humbling.
Right, but remember, like you said, alone in the crowd was Steven, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You're no longer Steven. You're Batman.
Still, Steven is Batman. Bruce Wayne. Bruce. I love Batman. Batman's the bomb.
I just can't get behind that movie. Sorry. I can't do it.
The movie?
Yeah, I just can't get behind it.
Don't. Don't. Like I said, Batman v Superman is a really bad movie. But the best part is Ben Affleck, which is ironic because I think we all walked into that movie going, ugh, Ben Affleck. And he just, like, he showed people that he really is a Batman fan, that I'm actually kind of eager for the movie that he's going to direct. Like, I want to see that movie, but Zack Snyder's interpretation of this universe, I can't stand behind it.
So what about Suicide Squad? Yes, no?
I don't know. The trailer, like, nothing about the trailer really compelled me. It just seems, maybe if they used actors and actresses that were not known, I'd feel better about it. But there's something, I love Will Smith, I do. But there's something about having Will Smith in a movie like that kind of pulls me away because he's too big
I'm
of an
tweeting
actor.
Will right now. I'm waiting to see if some beef starts.
Will's voice is not cool with you being, but no. But I just feel that Will is such a big character, such a big actor that when you see him playing like a role from a comic book, you don't see the character he's playing. You see Will Smith, right? Because he's. But if you get an actor that's unknown, it allows you to kind of get into that space and be like. I think that's why people had a hard time with Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck is such a huge actor. He's such a big presence that they were like, how can you play Batman? Especially after what happened with Daredevil. But then you saw that he really could deliver Batman, you know? Yeah. So I'm going to keep my mind open for Suicide Squad, but I'm not really sold on it right now.
I love that you're so multifaceted, and that's, you know, we get a little I'm theme park and roller coaster just junkie. I if it goes fast and upside down, I'm all about it, and we get a lot of flack for posting stuff like that. Like, what are you doing, dude? Why are you doing that? You know, but so that's why I love you. You're into movies, you're into music, you're an engineer, which I'm sure people are like, huh? You know,
what?
I'm sorry, did you say engineer? I don't think so. You know, and you do these amazing videos that are literally life altering. I love how real you are, and I'm still learning from you. I'm still very, very reserved as to who I really am. Stephanie sees the real me, and some of my friends see the real me, but I'm still learning from you. And so don't stop putting out videos, man. I'm still taking your master class.
I won't, man, because like they're therapeutic for me too. I get to play all those crazy characters that as a kid I would make up in front of the mirror. You know, I pretend I'm a vampire, or pretend that I'm this, and now I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it and film it and put it out there, and you know, and I just do it, and it just allows my mind to go in these different places, and it's just fun. Like honestly, like we were talking about before, my favorite videos are the ones where it starts off funny, and it takes a very dark twist towards the end, and you're just like, what just happened? Like, why would you do this?
One of my favorite ones is where you're in the hallway and you hear a muffled screaming or whining in the apartment, and you knock on the door, and it's the vampire, and he's very, very coy about what's going on. And I can only imagine that if any neighbor came out during the exterior scene where you're talking to an empty doorway, reacting to nothing, they're going to be like, yeah, lock the door, honey. Just back away and lock the door.
What's really awkward is like there's some scenes where like I filmed the door closing from outside, so I put my phone down on the floor and I start filming and I just close the door. What's awkward is coming back out and realizing that someone had walked out and then my phone's on the floor and I just casually go pick it up and be like, go back into my. Or even when I was filming the remember that it's like, it was actually last week where there was the blow up doll in my neighbor's apartment.
So funny.
As I was filming it, she walked by and she caught me filming. It was super awkward because we made eye contact and I knew she realized what I was doing. I don't think she knew I was putting up online, but yeah, awkward situations happen all the time. All the time.
Nice video. Yeah, nice doll. Yikes!
What's happening with the doll?
I'm telling you, you have to flip. You have to do the reaction. You have to do the opposite side, where they're eating their Cheerios with their doll, looking at you, going, "What's this dude staring at?"
What is he doing? What I really want to do is, and I need more blow up dolls for that, is to have the reaction where you have the blow up doll, but then in front of the blow up doll are other blow up dolls, and you realize that it's a blow up doll family.
That would be amazing.
I know, right? I need to go buy some blow up dolls.
Right. I think that's what Amazon is for.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go to the store, dude.
Oh, then we gotta get a bunch of your fans to be
that
like,
you?
Voice, what are you doing?
What the F are you doing?
Definitely.
Don't worry, it's for a Vine. They'll be like, all right.
Yeah, I'll be like, sure.
died.
So we have another question about acting. Do you have any tricks for getting into the headspace or character?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. So, actually, I never considered myself an actor. I still don't, honestly, but like, I didn't consider myself an actor until I went into audition for an actual, like, a TV show. This was like about 2 months ago. And for the first time, I was nervous. Even though I had been doing these videos, I was nervous. And then I asked a friend, I said, what should I do? And he said, just do what you've been doing. And I said, what? He's like, just play yourself. Like, how would you react in that situation? And then you just put a backstory to it, but just play yourself, because when you act like yourself, it comes out natural. When you try to be anyone other than yourself, then it seems forced. So I went into the audition, and I interpreted the character the way I would interpret the situation, and just kind of played my own reaction, and they loved it. And I think that's the trick. I think the trick is to just put yourself in that mindset, but play it the way you'd play it. Even if it's like a psychopath, and I played a Joker a lot in my skits. I play like a crazy psycho Joker, and I find him intimidating and kind of scary. But you play him as you would play him. Just dive into that dark side of yourself and just embrace it. It might scare you for a moment, but it's worth it to just jump in there and just play those characters the way you'd play it if you were them for us a minute.
It should be noted that you play that character frighteningly well. I mean, that's probably
scary,
the strongest character, if I have to point one out. You do that like, do you want to die?
Do you want to die? Yeah, I love this. I love playing the psychopath, because it allows you to kind of go off, explore that very strange side of yourself, and just say, I'm going to have fun with it.
I like how you say have fun with it, because it's really your best character. They're all great, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. And you've got a lot of them. My favorite are when you're all talking to one another, and then you realize it's just you, and then you look over and your animals you're like, they're watching. I love that. I love that. It's like you said, you never know exactly where you're going to go, and then it's like, oh. It's really well done. These are some of the best skits I've ever seen, and I'm really shocked that some kind of a comedy or some kind of entertainment entity hasn't just swooped you up, because if I had money, I'd be like, all right, boys, here's the thing. I need you to keep doing what you're doing, and here's a boatload of money. You don't go to work anymore. This is your job,
Oh, man. If that ever happened, I would jump right in.
It needs to.
Right
I don't know why anyone hasn't done this, because they are truly some of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Thank you.
I also love how the production value is constant across the way. It is really well done. The one you just did recently on your green screen was really well done, where it's all your different personalities fighting one another, and it's just I don't know, it's just brilliant. I'm not doing it justice, it's just too good. It's just too good.
Thank you.
And a lot of the reason why I love your skits is that it's based on a lot of truth. Like there are just plain funny ones, but there are other ones that we talked about just a second ago where it's just like, I didn't buy your stuff, I just got it off YouTube. It's like, that stings, like, but it's relatable.
Yeah. It's like whenever you just throw in something that's relatable, but then you flip it. Like I've learned from comedy anyway that the funny jokes are the ones where the joke happens, and you think the video could have ended there, but then you have that last joke that's totally unexpected. Yes. Those are the funniest ones.
You do that a lot, and you do it exceptionally well. I don't think there's a single bad video, except for that one. No, seriously.
Which one? Go delete it right now. Delete my Instagram. Fuck this.
Seriously, which one, man? No, I'm joking. I love every single one of them. And I drive her crazy, because if it's exceptionally funny, I'll just do it over and over again. I'll just play it on a loop, because let's be honest, these are under a minute in length. They're actually, back in the day, they were under whatever the Insta limit was.
15 seconds. Yeah.
So it's just really, really funny. But I mean, if you go looking through your stuff, you've got all of even 14 weeks ago, you've got this one video that we're watching right now that's got 20, 30 comments. And
I gotta see this.
Oh, it's this one was funny. It's the one with where you kept putting the stuff on your beard. Is it because I have stuff on my hands?
But you know what's sad though is that character, the stupid character, is based off someone I know who does ask me questions on that level of stupidity. Like, there's one question he asked me. I hope he's not watching, but he called me and he said, "Hey man, I'm lactose intolerant. Is it okay if I have milk?"
The answer is yes.
And you're like, is this a joke? Am I being filmed right now? Like, it's like comedy gold. He's giving me content to make my videos
So
with.
it's important to maintain that friendship then, because.
Oh yeah, clearly. No, he knows. He knows. When I made a video, I sent it directly to him first, and I said, "These are the questions you asked me. You're the reason for half of these jokes."
That's awesome.
That's so great. All right, so let's take it back. Let's take it back to 21-year-old you. What would you say, or what advice would you give to yourself at 21 years old?
I tell myself to just not be afraid to be who you are, and just embrace the part of you that other people might not understand, because it's that part of you that people look at initially and kind of go, I don't know. That's the part of you that when you feel that you're pushed against a wall, you work and you flesh out that part of you to the point that it becomes who you are, and that's the part of you that people will respect, because it's what will make you unique. Because you can go off and do what everyone else is saying, and sure, it might work for you, but at the same time, you might not be happy. You might be unhappy. The road that to finding yourself will always be difficult and hard, but it's worth it. It might not take a year. It might not take 2 years. It might take 10 years. But once you get to that point where you're confident with who you are, the rest of the world will be confident with you.
Have you always been this self-aware and this comfortable with yourself, or please say that you weren't, so the rest of us have hope?
No, I really wasn't. I mean, I was. If I go back to high school, like the falsetto voice that I do a lot now, that was a voice I was so shy to do, because guys, like my male friends, would make fun of me. Like, oh, why can you sing so high? And I didn't want to do it. A lot of the things that now make me stand out, like a lot of the things that make people stop and take notice, were the things that everyone around me made fun of. Like even instrumentation. When I first started, making instrumentals. I remember like my producer friends that were way more advanced than me telling me that you suck. Like, why are your kicks your drums? Why are they so light? No one's ever gonna want light drums. And I just said, okay, whatever, and I just kept doing it and failing. But then it's because I was so persistent that I made it work for me, and it's become iconic to me, and that's what people love about the music, So it's all the things that people will kind of stop and tell you maybe you shouldn't, that you probably should.
So what do you see for yourself in the future? Like, where will you keep yourself spread out in so many areas, or focusing on just videos or just music?
And this is a question from the audience here.
You know what? I don't think I'll ever see myself as kind of focusing on one thing. I'll always embrace all facets of them, because they interplay with one another. Like the fact that I make music the way I do allows me to make the videos the way I do, because I suddenly see the videos almost like a musical play, or even just the timing of the cuts. I see a tempo, and it also helps with kind of portraying the story the way I want it to be told, and vice versa. The way I kind of create the videos allows me to kind of create music that's more thematic, that's more cinematic, that can take people on a journey. And even the panels I do about gender and diversity, it's given me the kind of the idea to now want to work on a musical project that's entirely based on ethical issues. I'm actually working on that right now. So everything I do interplays with itself, because they're all me. Not any single part of me is any, and so none of these things are outside of my realm. They all are just extensions of myself. And I think that whole saying, people say things like, jack of all trades, something of what a master of none. Like, I don't think that's true. I think you can master everything, so long as you realize that all those things you're trying to master are all coming from the same source, which is you. It's once you try to separate yourself, when you put yourself in different blocks, that's when you can't achieve your goals, because you're spreading yourself.
I love that, and that
fantastic.
gives us hope, because, like I said at the very beginning of this, I think you stumbled upon a recipe, and you've given people a roadmap, and maybe only 3 people in the world pay attention to this roadmap, but for me, it's the singular greatest recipe ever, and I think everyone needs to follow what you're doing. So I absolutely love it. Philip asks, do you have any goals set for the next year or 2 years?
Yeah. Right now, apart from the projects I'm working on, I want to just position myself more and more as a person that has a voice again, that has power in the sense that it's a voice that people will stop and take note of. And I don't want to do that for, selfish reasons of like, oh, I'm just going to exploit it and, make all the money in the world. No, like I want to do it because I actually want to start talking more and more about important issues. Again, this whole social ethics, I want to talk more and more about that, because I just feel that too many people that embark into the entertainment industry kind of lose sight of the fact that they now have that, like a power to them that they can use to kind of bring some sort of good that's not just, an agenda for their own wealth. I want to take that power that can be given to me and be responsible with it and kind of give back to not just myself, but to and other people that surround me, but to the world as a whole, and hopefully leave an ideology behind that someone down the line or eventually will take on for themselves, like a mantle. It's like Batman says, that a man is just a man, but a symbol can live forever, and that's what I want. I want to make a symbol of hope that other people can attach onto and then run with on their own.
I absolutely love that. So you say you're not from this planet. So on the other planet that you're from, are you older there? Because you're far too wise for your age on this planet. So is that a thing?
I'm a 1,000-year-old vampire.
There you go. See, it makes all the sense in the world. A vampire with a heart of gold. It's
a blade.
See, maybe you should bring that back, man. I could see you as Blade. For real. I want to do the effects, though.
You know what? If Netflix ever does Blade, I will hunt down the recruiter and I will be like, look at me, I am Blade. Let me play Blade.
You would do it exceptionally well. You really would. So let's talk a little bit about when you talk about self-worth on your pages. You posted something recently, and unfortunately I don't have it up here, but you were talking about being self-aware. And basically your life will fall back into place once you're self-aware. For those of us who I struggle with that big time. You and I talk about that all the time. It's just wherever you are, I'm about 1,000 steps behind you, learning from you. What do you say to people who are just like, they're creative, they're jumbled, I suffer from dyslexia, insomnia, if it has an IA in the end, it's probably associated with me. How do you tell someone, hey, you know what, at the end of the day, it's going to be all right? I mean, you've got a really tight-knit circle that not many people have. I have Steph, and she's like my rock, but I don't have a lot of other people I can reach out to and be like, oh, hey, I'm feeling this way, and I think in our industry, you get mocked for it in some cases, So what do you say to people about just saying it's okay to feel, basically? I mean, what do you tell people? How do you tell your fans and your friends, like, hey, it's all right to have these really bad feelings or of negative self-worth?
Well, you know what? Like, the way I see it, there's we have good days and we have bad days, and the bad days are the ones that we hate. We hate them because they suck and we just want to sleep through them. But I stopped looking at bad days as just that. I mean, in the moment they suck, but I always look back on them. And I always see that there's always a lesson in disguise. There's always something that the world is telling you or trying to tell you that you need to pay attention to. When you're feeling low and you're feeling down, you can focus on the fact that you're low and down. Or you can stop, you can ask yourself, okay, why am I feeling low and down, and where is that coming from? And then a lot of the time you learn that you are your own best teacher, hands down. And I think the first step in becoming more self-aware is learning to become more okay with just being by yourself. And this is how I've learned this, because I have Soaks and Jess, but I'll never put myself in the position where if they weren't there, then I will not be okay. You have to always be in the position where even if they're not there, you'll be fine. But the fact that they're there helps it, expedites the process. But they're not there to bring you up. They're there to help you up as you're bringing yourself up, right? And that's why I do simple exercises. Sometimes a movie comes out, instead of calling my friends to go watch the movie, I go watch the movie by myself. I go on my own self alone dates. I take myself out on dates. I do things like I go for walks by myself, and I just enjoy being by myself because it allows me to find joy in the most minute things. Like recently, I was walking a few weeks ago and I saw this flower and I looked at it and I never cared about flowers, but I stopped and I looked at the flower and it was so beautiful and like just the uniqueness of it, and I took a photo of it, and ever since then, whenever I come across a flower, I take note to pay attention to it because it reminds me that there's so many amazing things happening at any given time around you that we just don't take note of because we're so either in our heads or we're so dependent on other people being around us to feel safe. But once you find safety in yourself, then nothing can stop you.
I love that. On your Insta page, right, a few weeks ago, you put, "It's okay to live a life that others don't understand," and and you absolutely are in the small percentage of that. I mean, I highly doubt that the guy at your coffee shop is like, "Oh man, I do that too." No, you don't. But it's
no. That's the thing. You shouldn't be ever like I said. Even the flower thing, like taking the photo itself, is not like I look absolutely crazy. Just imagine, I'm just jogging by in my neighborhood. I see a flower. I stop. I run to the flower. I take a photo. I take another photo. Anyone watching me is just like, what is he doing? They don't understand in that moment that I'm having the most intimate moment with this flower because this flower just reminded me that there's beauty on the sidewalk, and then I take that photo, that as small as it is, and I share it on my Instagram, and I just say, I thought this is beautiful, I'm just sharing this with you, and then other people find beauty in it, and then you just keep spreading that feeling of just like, there's more to life than what we think we need to focus on.
I love that. I truly, absolutely love your wisdom, and like I said before, if anybody out there is listening, go find Voice and check out what he's talking about. There's something there for everyone. That's what I absolutely love about Voice. He's got amazing music. I mean, my tastes in music are really, really extreme. I love all the old school hip hop, but I also love R&B. I love rock, and you are not quantifiable. I would never put you in any category. Your music transcends all that nonsense, and it's a beautiful journey. If you have the ability to listen to the entire trilogy, you'll start to see and think and feel about different things. I have it playing when I'm working, and it's just you stop and you go, wow. And then on the side of all the music, then you've got all these really great life affirmations that you post online, and then you've got these really great, really funny videos, and then you post, we get an intimate look at how you're just jamming or just working something out, and we also get an intimate view of you and your trio, So there's a lot going on. So I think if you're interested in video, if you're interested in creative people at all, if you're interested in being an entrepreneur or building a brand, or if you love music, your channel is the place to go, and I encourage everybody to check it out. I didn't realize that we took up so much of your time. If there's anybody who has any other questions, let me hit us up. But other than that, we are so stoked to have you on.
Yes, we are.
I'm a huge fan of yours.
Thank
as
you.
A person. Well, I can't call you a person. As an alien entity.
Alien UFO. What
are you? You can fly? Damn.
I escaped from Roswell.
Nice.
It was me in 1966.
Nice.
That was me.
Rob Boehner just logged in. He said he loves this. Rob is a big-time guy into streaming, and he's an amazing friend. And he just said he loves the flower. It reminds me that there's beauty on the sidewalk. Last question. I'll leave this and see if anyone asks any more. We've got Twitch. We've got Facebook Live. You've got Periscope. You've got all these things now that you can have instant access to your audience. Do you believe that live streaming is the future?
Live streaming is because you get to show people who you are on the fly, and I think that's why I love Snapchat so much. Even though Snapchat is not necessarily live, I love Snapchat because you can pretty much on the fly get people to see what you're up to. And the reason why I love it so much is that, as a musician, or, I get to do things that other people might not get to do and like, for example, performing with the orchestra at Comic-Con, for me, that was just like, that's massive, right? Huge. But like, I could have easily just, put up the video after of, the final product and like, this was me performing, but there's something about showing people, this is behind the scenes. Like, this is us waking up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't had my coffee. I'm cranky. This is Jess cranky because she hasn't had her coffee. This is the us trying to scramble to set the stage up in time. This is us behind. This is me, like 10 seconds before I go on stage, kind of nervous. Like, they get to see that journey, so that when they do see the final product, it's like they understand all the work that went into it. And at the same time, you're bringing them down a road that they may not get to see, but you're allowing them to come into that place with you, because for me, I'm a fan of all this stuff. You know, like, I'm a fan of orchestras, I'm a fan of gaming, I'm a fan of music. So to be in that presence, I'm in awe. So if I'm in awe, then I know other people will be in awe. So, like, let me bring them with me so they can see it too, because I'm lucky to be able to see it. Let me share that. So I think live streaming is definitely the way to go.
I love how raw and honest everything you do is. You always put up like music videos and whatnot, and that's great. But I love how you always put up the process, and same with the music, and it's just how raw and honest you are. There's not a lot of people doing that, like you said. The big stars and like the Kardashians, they have a whole team of people and people doing Photoshop, and everything is very calculated, and you're just like, fuck it, that's just not who I am, and that's why you're so relatable. And I wish more people would follow that. Maybe they will once they take notice. But like I said before, if you're in video, if you're a musician, if you're an entrepreneur, pay attention to what Voice is doing, and you will realize very quickly that you've laid out a roadmap for success. And I really congratulate you on all your success you've had so far, and you're going to blow up. And I am going to talk, I promise you, secretary or assistant number 8. That's the one I'm going to be talking to. Number 8. Direct.
I'm gonna name her number 8. I'm gonna like, is it Michelle? No, it's number 8.
Number 8. We've got, wow, see, this is what happened. So go ahead and.
So we have a question from Philip again. He says, is there a dream project or performance or yours?
Of yours.
Oh.
Like a dream project that I want to do or that I've done?
Probably want to do.
Want to do? Oh man, I wish Michael Jackson was still alive so that I could do a song with him. Just so I could tell him that everything that I've learned about music, I learned from him. Like I wish that would be a dream come true. It's not gonna happen obviously because he's gone, but that would have been a dream. But honestly, I would love to do a song one day with Eminem. I would love to just. Could you imagine that? Like, the way he, like, I just love that. Even when he said things that I didn't necessarily agree with, especially in the past. Like, in the past, he really just kind of said things you're like, but at the same time, he was just being so honest with who he was that it was so relatable. And I would just love to do a song with someone on that level where, I'd feel like I'm learning myself. So that would definitely be a dream project for me.
I could totally see you doing something with M. That would be amazing. That would be... Actually, it'd be more helpful for him than it would be for you. He's kind of fallen off.
Oh, please. Please. I'd be like, Eminem! I'd go full fanboy.
Nice.
There's only 2 people in this world I would go full fanboy for. That was Michael Jackson and Eminem. I'd full fanboy without any... Because sometimes you meet celebrities and you're just like, I don't want to ever make anyone feel uncomfortable. So I'm just like, you're a person too. Nice to meet you. But if I met Eminem... full warning, full disclosure, I will fanboy all the way.
So you gotta make a promise that next time you run into a celebrity, you're gonna Snapchat it and you're just gonna stare at them, no blinking, no words, just stare at them,
just like this.
So we have a question from Rob Baynard. He says, with Kanye saying he has people film his entire process when making an album, what video plans do you have for your next project?
Like music video? Okay, so I'm actually working on something. So I'm working on a script because when you put out 75 songs for like a debut album, it becomes really hard to choose one song and be like, this is the single. Like, I can't. Because no single song is representative of the project as a whole. So what I decided to do was, instead of doing a music video, I would write a movie. I would write like a movie where the music is the soundtrack. And the movie itself is the story, not of the album, but of the album art. Like why the album art is the way it is. So kind of a story that kind of dives into that. I know so far what I've written, I really like. It's really much inside the vein of someone's head trying to figure out who they are. And then just having the music play as the soundtrack just made perfect sense. So that's the next step for me is to get that done.
I love that. Is that the script you were talking about on Insta a while back?
Yep. You're getting the first official details on it. That it's a script about the albums, but more about the album art, because there's something about the one-winged angel for Alone in the Crowd, and then you have the character that's kind of based loosely on the Le Petit Prince, the Little Prince, or Hidden in Plain Sight. These two characters were so iconic for me that I decided to make a story about that. So in a nutshell, without diving into the details, it really is about a person that's losing perception of themselves, and they keep falling into a world, or into worlds in their minds, and it's these two worlds they go into. I won't explain why just yet, but hopefully it'll turn out good.
Oh, of course it will. You're far too involved in what you do. I don't think I've ever seen you phone anything in. Come on. And for anyone who's not familiar with you have to go to voicemusic.com. If you want to feel bad about what you create in your life, go to voicemusic.com and click discography. If you think you're busy, you're not. It's just sorry about your luck. You just keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling.
What the hell?
You know, part of me wants to go, nah, this isn't real. Click. Oh, and it's awesome. Damn.
Dang you.
Why?
Dang you.
Why, man? But so thank you so much for being on the show. It means the world to us.
Thank you.
We're gonna, of course, when he's not out of this.
Yes, we will.
This is for those of you who did not make the live show, you missed out. But we'll put all the information to find a voice. But to go to voicemusic.com is a great place to start. Make sure to support people like this. You know, when your first album came out, I bought it. Then when I realized it was a trilogy, I bought it again. It's just you have to support people like this, and just keep each other afloat. And also, we'll put links to your friends as well. They're both really great people, and we'll put links to everything you do. There's just so many links. There's just looking at here, it's Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, other social networks that he's created just so he can put his own content out there. VoiceTube or whatever. No,
VoiceTube. VoiceTube.vine.
.alien. So if you've missed this, go to rampantlive.com, right?
Yep, rampantlive.com, and always Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, we will do another Rampant Live show, and
we got what? Who do we have coming up next?
We have Derek Darmstetter from Household Photography. He is a drone editor who does drone.
He is not a drone editor. He is not.
He uses a drone to edit stuff.
I want to meet the drone editor. Like, are you flying in the drone? Are you editing? I don't even know what a drone editor is. He's a drone pilot. He's a
cinematographer, all that good stuff.
So Rampant Live. But this episode you can find on Rampant Live. You can find it on Vimeo. You'll find it on YouTube. You'll find it here on Facebook. You'll also find it on iTunes and SoundCloud.
Stitcher.
So if you can't find it, I don't know how to help you. Also, if you want to talk to Voice, make sure to do it Monday mornings really, really early before he's had his coffee. Because that's what he says. He's like really real and honest. Yeah. Monday mornings, like 7 a.m. Hit him up.
I really do feel bad for anyone that bumps into me at that time. I just feel bad. I always apologize after. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but coffee was not in my system.
Sorry, not sorry, really. That's the hashtag for that one.
You should have known.
Don't you know me? Check out my feed. I'll explain all about it. So thanks for everything.
Yes, thanks for being on the
seriously,
show.
It means the world to us that you're on the show, and
thank you.
You are forever a friend of ours. And come on, next time you're working on a video, give me a call. I want to work on it.
But the script I'm working on, I'm actually gonna call you. Like when we're filming and everything, you have to be there because
done.
It's gonna be a massive project. I don't care if I have to fly to you. We're gonna work on it together.
We're gonna fly on the voice jet.
Right.
That's gotta be a thing by now.
Let me go get my 3D printer working.
If you 3D print a jet, I'll fly on it. Not the first flight, but I absolutely will fly on it.
I'm gonna watch it first.
Can I watch this? Yeah. Thanks for everything, and we'll post everything, all your links. Thanks again. We can't thank you enough.
Yes, thank you.
And we will. I guess we'll catch you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks everybody for commenting. Yeah, and we'll see you again on Thursday at 9 p.m.
Thursday at 9 p.m. Thanks again, boys. You're amazing.
Thank you.